All right, here we go, everybody. This is groovy. Looking for a piece of history? If you are in total luck. The Naples Art and Antique and Jewelry Show is going on this weekend at the Naples Exhibition Center.
And joining us in the studio for More in the Morning is Rebecca Rao. She is with us, and this is the largest show in the country of its kind. Is that correct?
There's a really great cross-section of dealers here. I'm here on behalf of MS Rao Antiques in New Orleans. We are the largest fine art and antique gallery of our type in the country, and I'm excited to show you all some important pieces of history today.
I mean, we got some rare stuff here. I mean, let's start with this thing right here. I mean, I don't think I could get my coffee out of this. This thing is probably worth more than my life.
So we've just brought a few teaser pieces from what we'll be exhibiting at the fair, but this right here is a coffee pot made by Paul Revere. Most people know Paul Revere because he obviously famously warned American troops that the British were coming during the American Revolution, but what people do not know about him was that he was a very established and important silversmith. So these are incredibly rare. He probably only made 15 coffee pots throughout his entire career, but only 3 before the American Revolution. So this is one of 3 armorial coffee pots by Paul Revere. The other 2 are in major museums. Because if you think about it, coffee was the drink of the poor before the Boston Tea Party. So for a wealthy family to commission a piece like this from a major silversmith was incredibly rare. And this was made for a family of governors, the Dudleys, and you can see their crest on the front.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. And speaking of incredible historical pieces, let's talk about this right here in front of us, George and Martha Washington's personal effects.
Yes. So next we brought a couple of Washington items to sell a little bit late, but as you know, Monday was Washington's birthday. Here we have Martha Washington's earrings. They're pearl and gold, and beneath that you can see a physical artifact from the president. There's a mourning locket that Martha used to commemorate her late husband, and inside the locket are pieces of his hair that are visible here.
So George Washington's hair is actually in this.
Yes.
And I don't know how close we can get on this, but if you do look at that lock of hair, it is obvious that the President of Washington used Per Plus. I mean, I can just tell by looking at it.
Very,
it's spectacular.
very nice.
Maybe it's head and shoulders.
Those earrings are incredibly delicate and intricate, and these are things that you can take home. You can buy all of these items.
It is all for sale. We would love to send you home with it. Next up, this is a plate that the Washingtons would have used to entertain in Mount Vernon. At the time, Canton, so Chinese export wares, Chinese porcelain was extremely popular. It maintained popularity into the 19th century. They were durable, they were beautiful. The blue and white color set a nice table. This has been authenticated by the curator at Mount Vernon, and all of these 3 pieces have been exhibited at tons of major museums. Just an interesting and important piece it's cool to have the opportunity to eat off something that the Washingtons might have.
How many of these types of things are around? I know obviously rare, but when we're talking rare, can you quantify that for us?
That's hard to say. I mean, this, as we know, it's the only piece on the private market. Anything comparable would be in a museum, and the same goes for the vast majority of what we deal in. We really are looking for rare and exceptional pieces. And the last piece I brought, moving a little bit...
Speaking of rare and exceptional.
Yes. So moving a little bit away from American history, just brought this because it's fun. This is a painting by the Pablo Picasso. It's an oil on canvas. It's from 1965, so it's a later career piece. But what really excites me about this painting is that leading up to the time that he created this work, he was primarily preoccupied by women, and he was painting a lot of pictures of the artist and the model in his studio. But later in life, he became a little bit more introspective. We think he was possibly thinking about issues of his own legacy and of mortality. And he produced a series of heads of men. Sometimes they're read as pseudo self-portraits, but there's also a quote earlier in his life where he references bearded men to, and he says anytime he paints a bearded man, he thinks of his father. So again, kind of reflecting on his own life, his father who was an artist and who did his early training, and it's a beautiful piece. It's signed on the top left, and then on the reverse, it's dated. So he produced this piece on April 2nd of 1965 out of his studio in Mougins, France.
I'm curious, Rebecca, how do you acquire all of these unique and rare items?
That's a little bit of our secret sauce. We've been in the business for over a century in New Orleans. A lot of them come from private collections and estates, and like I said, we have relationships with major collectors and museums around the world, so people offer us things that they would think that they might not think to offer to someone else.
And tell us a little bit about this event so folks can come out and take a look at this cool stuff.
Absolutely. So the Naples Art, Antique, and Jewelry Show starts this evening. There's a VIP party tonight, Friday, and it's open to the public starting tomorrow morning and through Tuesday afternoon. So come and visit us. The address is 850 Goodlet Frank Drive Avenue
Very good.
Street,
Yeah, very
one of
good,
the above.
very good. Yes.
In Naples, and we'd love to show you some additional amazing works.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for bringing these in, and what a treat for us to be able to see these pieces of history, these treasures in person, and obviously everybody out there has the opportunity to do the same this weekend. Thank you for being here, Rebecca. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you.